We're in the midst of a huge transformation where our peers, communities, and workplaces are all melding into one. Welcome to Reimagining Company Culture. My name is Christina Giordano, and I'm a partnerships manager here at AllVoices, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And today I'm really excited to welcome our guest, Theresa Watts, who is the Vice President of Human Resources at True Religion brand Jeans. Hi, Theresa. How are you?
I'm fine, Christina. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for joining us for a conversation today. I'd love to start out if you could share a little bit about your pronouns and what your role entailed at True Religion brand Jeans. We can start there.
Okay, great. My pronouns are she, her. And as you said, I'm Theresa Watts, the Vice President of Human Resources for True Religion brand Jeans. Very excited. I definitely love my brand. As I'm responsible for the global human resources efforts for True Religion, that means I'm responsible for diversity and equity and inclusion, recruiting, training and development, our total rewards process, performance management. I'm head of HR I'm head of all the people functions here at True Religion brand Jeans. So.
I feel like your schedule is definitely very packed with all of those buckets.
Yeah, it's packed, but it's fun. Having your hands and everything, having a team member to help you with every function. It's very interesting.
That's great. And before we get a little bit deeper into just the company culture and a little bit more into the initiatives that you are running, what has recently brought you joy in the world generally?
Well, honestly, it is actually a work-related example. Okay, so recently, every now and then I take visits to our retail store location. So just this past week, I was at the retail store location, hanging out, helping customers, getting to know the team, the store managers, the sales associates, everyone. And so we had lunch with the store manager, and he felt so comfortable, the team felt comfortable with us. So when the manager said, wow, I've never sat down this close with a vice president in all the years that I've been in retail. I've never had this type of relationship or been in this proximity, and to have lunch and sit down with just us with the vice president of the organization before. And I was like, wow, it's really great. And he was like, I'm really enjoying it. And we were asking each other about ourselves and our backgrounds, and it was really great. And then we went back to the store. The team, they also felt very comfortable. And I was folding clothes, helping them fold store, and I was doing a horrible job. I'm the worst at folding clothes. So the individual helping me, I was like, how do I fold this? And she goes, it's a small shirt and it's only 2 steps. You can't get that? And we just laughed, but she was so comfortable with me. So by the time my team and I left, we were like, okay, we're doing something good here. The culture is changing. It is, they know who we are as a senior leadership team. They know how to contact us. They know that we're not scary. They know that they can call the VP of HR at any time. And I just thought that it made me feel proud as an organization that we're moving in that direction where our culture is like everyone is more comfortable just being themselves and just being real. And that was a good example, a good experience for me.
That's great. I think that's a really good example of modeling and how you can say that we, are approachable and that, have a quote unquote open door policy and you can reach me. But I think it is different when you are in the stores with them, folding clothes and just you are having conversations people to people and really building that trust. I think that's great.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was definitely a fun and educational day.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you define company culture generally?
Well, I think that because so much so our personal lives and our work lives intersect. No more is it that this is my work me and this is my off work me where I'm with my friends. We're all one person. So creating an organization filled with where people can be genuine and they can be authentic and they feel safe. There's a psychological safeness, a psychologically safe environment where everyone can share, everyone's comfortable sharing their stories and listening to other people's stories too. It's, a good part of building a culture that's receptive to different type of people, different perspectives. Yeah. And bring all that to those collective personalities and collective perspectives together to just build one strong organizational culture, which definitely should be weaved into the strategy, into our organizational strategy with intention. And making sure that everyone is a part intentionally of growing and developing and evolving that culture.
Absolutely. I think that psychological safety piece is so important, especially now as we're thinking about the future of work and what that looks like. And we're thinking about creating and really rebuilding systems and being, thinking about inclusive design too. I would love to ask as well, in terms of True Religion brand jeans culture, what really differentiates it? And have you seen kind of shifts in the culture during the pandemic as well?
Well, what differentiates us is right now we're in the process of, we're so excited, a rebuilding and a re-emergence. Okay, so like all organizations, we've gone through some good times, some times that could have been better. So right now we're in a really good phase of our evolution. And so this rebuilding and this re-emergence is making us listen to the employees more. It's not just so much because of COVID and everything else that's going on out in the world. It's because we want to do it. You will hear me talk a lot about authenticity and being genuine. So we want our employees to speak with authentic and genuine voices. We want it to be their voices, not ours, telling them how we interact with the community, interact with our customers, interact with our employees. Those are their voices. They're our front line. We're working and talking to them every day. So why should they not have a voice in our strategy and our structure and how we run our business in our day-to-day? So I think we're different because not just because I love my company, but because I've had years in this industry and I haven't seen it this heartfelt before. It really is heartfelt when, our CEO tells the senior leadership team, or he asks us, what are you learning from the employees? What are you hearing from the employees? I've never got that question before. They were interested. So for me, that is a different environment that's helping us create a more inclusive narrative that allows us as an organization to be more authentic.
Absolutely. Encouraging all employees to speak up and really meeting them where they are and actively listening is so important. And it's really good to hear that that's something that your company and you value as a leader too, in terms of really listening to employees and getting that engagement, especially right now. How do you kind of think about a holistic strategy for really getting that engagement and making employees feel comfortable speaking up and just getting that feedback?
Well, it begins at the top. It begins with the leadership. And it begins with our CEO, who's very receptive to it. And it begins with how he's speaking to us as a senior leadership team. So it's our CEO who's constantly having conversations with us about the type of heart and the beliefs that he wants us to have as senior leadership. Who do you want to be? What type of leader do you want to be, Theresa? This is the type of team that I'm building. This is what I want to see coming from my senior leadership team. So our CEO is very clear with that. We must have a heart. We must have the spirit where we want to help other people, where we want to bring other people up, where we want to help the underserved, where we want to, again, talking about listening, where we want to listen and weave what we're hearing into our everyday organizational strategy, how connecting should not be fake. Connecting should be natural and organic when we talk to other people. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be a chore for us, or even a chore for an employee to come into our office and talk to us. It should be, okay, I can take a moment. I can listen to you. I can give you feedback. It should just be a natural thing that, and we all get busy, but if it's weaved into who we are and into the culture, that even that in the midst of our busyness, we have time to do that. And I think that we do a lot of that. And again, it goes back to a psychologically safe environment. You hear me say that a lot, in authenticity and genuineness, because if you're not authentic, then your environment is probably not psychologically safe. If you're not authentic, then people they can't tell you their story. They're not comfortable storytelling. They're not comfortable hearing your story. So I think that as a senior leadership team, we do a good job of allowing people to merge their personal self with their work self, and to just be comfortable doing that in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like the team is really empowering and really wants leaders and managers to lean into this moment, and just as the company evolves as well, really build that sense of trust within employees. And authenticity is so important. People know when you are being inauthentic, people know when it's just a check the box solution, and things like that. So I definitely think that's so important. And one of the many things that you said that you own is one of the strategies for diversity, equity, and inclusion at True Religion Brand Jeans too. What does that look like in practice, and how are you thinking about that strategy moving forward?
Well, definitely it started a lot with our branding. How we want other people to see us, what message we want communicated, not just to our employees, but to the community where we live and work, to our customers. So it began with making sure that our models were reflective of our employees, our customers, and our environment. Our, our models are diverse, obviously in gender and race and ethnicity, and body fit and body type, and body fit and body type rather. And I love that because we don't all look the same. We don't all wear the same type of jeans. We definitely don't all wear the same size. So why not reflect that in our branding and our marketing? I also think that we're doing a lot with speaking out about injustices. We are, partnering with some grassroots organizations let them hear our voice, hear our stance on the many injustices that are going on in the world right now, and letting our employees know that we care. We hear you. If you want to talk to us about it, our door is open. Please feel free to talk to any member of the senior leadership team or anyone that you feel comfortable talking to the organization. So that is it. Sharing our story, and it's more even than being authentic. It's being transparent. It is saying, hey, listen, we don't have it right. We're not perfect. And we're learning. And as we are evolving and re-emerging, and we're learning more, we're partnering more, we're asking more questions, we're telling stories more, we're taking other people's stories and weaving them in to how we can make a difference. So that's a lot of our strategy too, just listening. And also too, when I'm recruiting, when I'm interviewing with candidates, they ask me about being a diverse employee in our organization. Yeah, and I love that question. They see me, this Black female, head of all of our HR function, and a lot of them, it's a shock. Or a lot of times we're coming into a job fair and I'm there working alongside with my team because I want to know people. I want to know the candidates, know their questions. I want to know the kind of people that are interested in working with us. So when they ask me about what it's like to be a Black person working with True, when they ask me what it's like being a woman working at True, I welcome it because I can tell them from so many different perspectives, just from being an employee in my position, or just from being in senior leadership in my position, and what that looks like, how my voice affects change, and why my voice affects change, why within this particular environment, my voice is allowed to affect change. And I love that, I welcome candidates to ask, hey, listen, give me the names of other diverse employees that you have. So talk to them, because I could just be making this up because, So, I welcome them to ask us, hey, I want to talk to some other diverse candidates, things like that. When they ask us, what is your diversity and equity and inclusion strategy in the interview? I'm proud to tell them, hey, listen, we're evolving, we're working on it. It's going to be something big. We're preparing the organization, and it's going to be good. It's not something that we just wanted to jump into. We're, building our diversity and inclusion council.
Cool.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, I see that a lot of organizations, they just jump into that. Oh, we want this diversity council. Oh, we want to do this. But if the organization isn't prepared for that, then you're just spouting words. You don't have a strategy. The organization wasn't prepared. You didn't get the feedback. You didn't get the feedback. You didn't involve employees in that process. You didn't see what your concerns are, the concerns that you should address. So we've been slowly doing that. Like that example that I told you when I was out in the store, employees are feeling more comfortable. That is, we're changing the culture. So now we're like, okay, we've made those baby steps. We've initiated some great programs. We've given the employees some great tools. So now we're ready, for that council, so that it's not just all talk, that we were really preparing and we were really ready for that next stage of our evolution. Also, even with internships, something new that we're doing now, but partnering with schools to get interns from communities that may have never or will never, have an opportunity to work with an organization like us. So non-traditional schools, schools that may have, a higher percentage of diverse students, that may be in underserved communities, things like that. So taking the non-traditional route to internships with non-traditional schools, bring them into the organization.
Yeah, I think that what I'm hearing a lot of is that there needs to be intentionality behind actions and strategy, and also statements or, just checking the box to say, like, we are an inclusive organization is not enough. You need to ask employees what they think. You need to continually have that conversation and just get their feedback about what you're doing. And also, it's not just about attracting talent from underrepresented communities and really thinking about that. It's also about retaining and, like you said, having a conversation and continual conversation with employees who are working there as well, which is really great too. I feel like you've already really answered this question, but I wanted to know if you have any other thoughts around the corporate culture and culture in the stores, how you think about, melding them all into one, if they should be separate in certain ways. What are your thoughts?
No. They shouldn't be separate. We're all true. Okay. We're all one true family. So it's, what's good for corporate is good for the stores. I love it, when we have our town halls and the stores are there, people from our warehouse are there, people from corporate. For me, and I want everyone to feel just as comfortable as the corporate employees do with coming to myself or another member of the senior leadership team or any member in HR asking a question or asking for help. So for us, our culture is all the same. And where we see that maybe there are some difficulties blending those together, then we stop and we say, hey, this isn't working for them. So let's fix it. Although, different people, everyone is an individual. So different people work here, different people work there. The premise is the same. I want to fit in. That's what we all do. We all want to fit in. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be included. So we make sure that everything that we do, every strategy that we build is inclusive of every segment of our business.
Yeah. And I think that's really important too, just to reemphasize as well, like you said, you're all true, you're all part of this one mission as well. And I think it's important to really be seen and, feel like you are a part of the company that you are working at as well. You touched on this a little bit too, but wanted to know your thoughts about how companies should really thoughtfully engage in corporate social justice, especially as we are seeing a lot of companies really lean into this. And you mentioned that True is as well.
Yeah, we're excited about this. I actually have some really cool meetings next week with, with some LA County public officials and things like that too, because we want to work with, we prefer to work with smaller grassroots organizations who there in the community, in the community where people are underserved, where people need the most help, where we can touch those people. And when I say touch, that we can speak directly to them, they can see us directly. We can work alongside them to build a better community, to build better people, to give people access to, honestly, to give people access to a Black female VP. Come on, when I was growing up in the South Side of Chicago, I didn't have that experience. And yeah, I didn't have that experience. So to give that experience to someone else, it really touches me. So and to have an opportunity to bring someone from an underserved community to our office, or to introduce them to our brand and to how we do business, or just, I didn't have those experiences, and I'm from an underserved community, and so to be able to give back, and to be able to help organizations who don't have the thousands and millions of dollars coming in every day like the larger organizations do. So be able to not only help them build and come up with ideas and work alongside them and partner, maybe to help them with resources and tools as well. So we're over the moon with that one. We really are excited about that as an organization. So.
That's amazing. And representation across the board, but also in terms of leadership, is so important for people to see, especially students who are going to graduate soon, are going to be applying to jobs, and seeing new opportunities that you might not have been exposed to is really important, and something that I'm also personally passionate about. So I think that it's amazing that, number one, you're out there and you are doing it, and you're setting an example as a role model and someone who they can aspire to be. And two, working with organizations who are in these local communities is so important too, because I think oftentimes people think of larger organizations, or they just like see the first, one they see on the internet. But I feel like there's a lot of people doing great work, and it just takes, again, like with pipeline, with a lot of things, a little additional work, and it just is really important. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I get so excited. I get goosebumps when we call an organization and they're like, "What? This is too religious? You're calling us?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is us. So, and we want to work with you."
Yes.
It's like we're enamored of each other, and I just love it. It's love from the beginning, and it's love throughout the process, and I'm sure it's going to be love to the end. So
yeah, and that's super authentic, and you're being so intentional about that, again too, with this whole 360-degree of strategy in terms of the community you're in, your employees, and just all of the stakeholders involved in the process. How do you really see this culture of inclusion and trust that you're manifesting in the workplace? Because we talked a lot about strategies and investing and putting a lot of time, effort, and resources into building systems and using tools to do that. So would love to ask how you see that kind of the results in the workplace, and how you see that kind of transforming the virtual or in-person workplace.
Okay, listen, Christina, we are, right now we're living in a world where so much is going on, right? You can't turn on the news without something, I don't know, exciting you, or something making you angry, or something making you want to cry. It's just so much going on right now. And we have to recognize too that a lot of people are dealing with trauma. A lot of people are dealing with PTSD from past trauma and past hurts. So I think that when we put together a strategy, or even when we're communicating and working with people, it's important to kind of have that in your mind. Like when someone's combative, or when someone's just not moving in the way you want them to move, or communicating something that you want to communicate, I like for us to stop and think, okay, we're sharing this space, but I don't really know a lot about them. Let me try to get to know. Let me try to see what's blocking them. And I want to give you this little example of my own little personal trauma, okay? And it's been a while, and it's still traumatic for me. Mm-hmm. So years ago, I was working at, I've always worked at big Fortune organizations. So years ago, I was working at an organization. I was 20-something years old, so obviously it was a long time ago. And so I was 20-something years old, and I was always very thin, like super thin, right? So, and we worked it was a casual environment. So I would come in with like dresses or skirts or things like that. And my boss put me to the side and she goes, well, your skirts are too short. They're too, you can't wear them. And I was like, well, okay, no big deal. I'll wear something longer, no big deal. But then I'm going to be honest with you. So then, there were these white girls, my same age, my same, build, thin. They would come in wearing the same thing. We were all shopping at the same stores,
Yeah.
Things still short, that type of thing. And so they were wearing it every day and they weren't saying it. So I would go, I still young, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Still young, I didn't know. So I would honestly visually measure where their skirts stopped. And so I would go out and I would say, well, okay, let me just make sure I buy something. And mine stops exactly where theirs stops. And so the next day I would come in with it. I would get called into my boss's office and say, hey, didn't I tell you not to wear that? It isn't appropriate for the office. And I would go, isn't she? I still remember these girls' names. And I would go, isn't yeah, I just saw them in the same thing. And I'm wearing a blue one and she's wearing a red one. What's the difference? And honestly, they will look at me like this. So, because they didn't have an answer.
Right.
What I did was the next day I went out and I kid you not, that weekend I went out and I bought these dresses that started here and went all the way down to the ground. They dragged the ground so hard that by the end of the day, I was filthy, But I honestly thought that my boss was going to be like, well, don't worry, you're taking it too far. No, I'm sorry. They didn't say anything. I spent the whole rest of the year looking like that, right? Okay. So to that point, that trauma still lives in me now. And I realized too that when I talked to my friend about it, I was just like, what is the difference? The difference was my body type. Okay. These were, and again, we were all the same age. But I have these, I'm going to be honest with you. So, I had these long, so we're wearing a skirt and in the back, it's like this. I have these long legs and then there's this little curve there that goes in. And then the other girls, there was no curve. You see? Mm-hmm. Definitely a different body type. At the time, so my friend explained it to me and I went, oh, okay. I was hurt.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do with that. I was like, okay, Now, bring it up to current day. Well, most women, we still have issues about our body, especially, being a Black female. And I come to an organization and in any arena where I'm like, when I'm around non-ethnic people, I'm always conscious about my body in general. So my CEO, who is the best, honestly, when I first started here at True Religion, I was wearing suits. So I got used to wearing suits because they're more giving. They hide your body more, the big wide leg pants, jacket suits and things like that. You can't see the curves. So I was starting out, and this is a jeans company, right? So everyone in all the jeans and t-shirts, listen, for the first 2-3 months, I'm wearing suits every day, seriously. But it wasn't because I didn't like the brand. It was just because I'm hiding my body, right? And I've been years since that first experience. So my CEO goes, Theresa, when are you going to start wearing the brand? So to him, I go, oh, okay, yeah. But I call my friend back home. I'm panicking. Seriously, trigger for me. I go, oh my gosh, he wants me to wear jeans and he's going to see my curves. Everyone in the office is going to see my curves. Now, granted, everyone else in the office is wearing jeans, okay? Except me. But I don't look around and see the Asian women, the white women, the Hispanic women, the Black women, all in the office wearing jeans, comfortable being themselves. I go back to that hurt 20-something-year-old who was told that who had to cover her body. Yeah. So I called my friend on the phone and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And she's like, go buy some jeans, Theresa. You're not that little girl anymore. So I go to our Citadel location and I have a fit session. So they pick out the right jeans for me, for my body type and everything. I go into work the next day after my fit session with my jeans. I'm panicking that morning, getting dressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, should I wear a jacket over my butt? You know how women have.
Yeah. Yep.
And I didn't. And honestly, I felt accepted. It was, Theresa, what are those our jeans? Those look good, It was, wow, which fitter that, which cut is that? So that I can go and get that. This nice color. It was just, I felt like I belonged. So I felt accepted, because again, sometimes we're still that little girl on the inside that doesn't feel accepted, doesn't feel like they fit in. So I fit in, and I was like, wow, I called my friends and I was just like, this is a great environment. And it was an eye opener for me that I was like, I'm at the right place. This is the culture that I want to work in. This is where I want to be. So that's my long-winded example.
Oh my gosh. No.
That's inclusion and trust. I trust them. I feel safe. I trust them every day when I come. I have 50 pairs of jeans now, but I trust them every day when I come in to know that my body type fits me. So.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that story and sharing this very traumatic experience, because it does take an effort of vulnerability to do that. And also that is absolutely terrible that these people were it was a double standard and it wasn't promoting a psychologically safe work environment whatsoever. And these instances really do stick with you, even when you are the VP of a major organization. And it's really important to think about that words matter, actions matter. And these things are important to highlight. So definitely appreciate that. And I think the stark comparison between then and now with true religion is just that you did feel that sense of it's actually palpable that you belong and people are seeing you and accepting you for who you are, and you don't have to hide. Like you were saying, that a lot of women, especially women of color, especially Black women, feel that they need to do in the workplace and bringing your authentic self to work.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely me. I'm me here, I'm me there, I'm me everywhere. So
Yeah. I think that's a common theme throughout the discussion too, is that you can't compartmentalize or silo your work self, personal self, friend self, family self, because all of us are right now some way working from home. And also it's just, you're a full human being. And I think organizations and people are recognizing that right now too, that you can't leave your personal self at the door. You show up as who you are too. I wanted to ask as well, what trend are you seeing in, diversity, equity, and inclusion, something that you're really passionate about in the market right now that companies and individuals really need to look at or understand to be successful in the future?
I think how to have safe conversations in the workplace where everyone feels safe. And again, I go back to that psychological safety, where everyone feels that they can trust you with their feelings, where they can trust you with their lived experiences, where they can trust you with, who they are, that type of thing. It's, I want to be able to say, and how to have those conversations that make people feel safe and trust you and that they feel comfortable. I want to be able to say, you know what? This went out in the world today. There was a tragedy against, this African-American man. And I'm really feeling a certain kind of way about this today. And it's really affecting me. I want to be able to comfortably say that without someone thinking, oh my gosh, she's been dramatic or,
right.
And without I want someone to stop and listen, and without them being able to say, well, you know what, I'm a member of this group and I feel the same way sometimes, or that type of thing. And it's not right. Or what about us? This is all about you right now. And you get that. And I have friends at organizations who get that. And, I hear sometimes people saying that, and I know that it's innocence because they don't know. One, they don't know what to say. They don't know how to respond. So teaching employees how to respond in that space is important to me, because it's hurtful when I share with you and you say, well, what about my group?
Yeah.
Or we're celebrating Black History Month, and what about this? Or you want to do this? Well, this happened to my people, that type of thing. And I'm just talking about me right now. It doesn't mean that I don't care about you. And I know that this person does not mean that. I know that. But they were probably holding that in, and they were thinking, well, this is an opportunity, since she's discussing, this is an opportunity for me to discuss.
Right.
But opposed to learning and saying, let me live in my space right now. This is my space. Let me share it with you. I'm welcoming you in. And then you know what? I'm going to give you the same space. So live with me right now where I am. Then you know what? I'm going to pack up and I'm going to move in with you. I'm going to you in your space, and so that I can get a better understanding of where you are. So having those comfortable and open conversations workplace about what's going on in the world, all the injustices and how that affects our employees, but also teaching the employees how to have those conversations, when those conversations are appropriate, when they are inappropriate, giving them the tools and the resources they have to display empathy, and to know just how to be there for someone without saying a word. Just listen and do this.
Absolutely. I think active listening is so important. And then leading with empathy as well is a huge trend that we're seeing too, in terms of the role of managers and the role of team members too, because you're right, there is an appropriate time and a not appropriate time to really bring up these conversations and really put the emotional labor on the other person as well, just so you can feel, if you're the other person, good about yourself or talking about it or something like that. You need to really think about, who are you holding space for? What is the intention? And really listen and not think about what you're going to say next, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've talked about a lot today. Is there anything else that you would like to share? And, if folks are interested in getting in touch with you, how can they kind of reach out to you?
Well, I'm at True Religion Brand Jeans. So you can contact me there at t.watts at truereligion.com. I love to have these types of conversations. I love to partner with people and talk about how we can work together to just make it a safer place for everyone. I don't have anything else to add other than just, I really do, encourage leaders to have these types of conversations. Thank you, Christina, for allowing me to talk. And I feel so vulnerable now, honestly, and that's an uncomfortable place to be in. It really is. So, but you made it comfortable. You made me, I invited you in. I invited you into my space. I invited everyone here into my space. And you allowed me a moment of vulnerability and honesty. And I really do appreciate that. And I hope you see that as diversity and equity leaders, as human resources leaders, it is very important to be yourself. Because how can you evolve in the right direction if you're not comfortable yourself doing that? How can you lead others in doing that if you can't do it yourself? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your vulnerability, sharing your story, and what really drives your passion for True Religion, and also just the work that you do for the community at large. I think, to your point too, you can't ask people, whether it's your employees or just any relationship in general, for someone to be vulnerable with you if you're not vulnerable with them as well. It's a two-way street. So I definitely appreciate our conversation here today. Thank you so much to our guest, Theresa Watts, for coming on Reimagining Company Culture. And I hope to speak with you soon.
Thank you, Christina.
And just as a reminder, here at AllVoices, we believe in the empowerment of everyone to speak up, and creating a place where people do feel they can speak up is a need to have in order for everyone at your organization to succeed. Have a good rest of your day.